I'm Sales Team Turnaround Specialist Jeremy DeMerchant, and each week I bring sales leaders like you experts and insights that will help you level up your leadership, motivate like a master, and ultimately crush your comp plan. If it's time to raise the bar on your team's performance, then it's time for Sales Team Rescue. Welcome to Sales Team Rescue, episode number 112. I'm your host, Jeremy DeMerchant, and today I want to talk about something that I think gets overlooked far too often, and that is prioritizing yourself in sales. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you're like me, I have a little bit of a hero complex. I hate to admit it, but I love to be the guy that swoops in and saves the day. When somebody needs something, I want to do it because I have this ridiculous need for people to like me. Luckily, I'm getting over it, but you might have the same challenge. And so I have a tendency to put everybody else ahead of me. And sometimes that can lead to me being drained and exhausted, sometimes on the verge of burnout. And it's just not healthy, is the reality of it. So I want to make sure that you don't suffer the same situation. And all you need to do is be a little itty bitty bit selfish. And by that, I mean setting boundaries for yourself to take care of yourself. Okay. So this is going to be really key, especially if you want to manage a high workload. This is going to increase your capacity because you're going to have firm boundaries, start times, stop times, things like that. We often wear a badge of honor to see who can work the longest, who can work the hardest, and all this jazz. The reality is, though, if you're putting in 12-hour days over and over and over again, you're eventually going to burn out, and you're not going to be effective to anybody. And during those 12-hour days, you're not working at 100%. You're not even working at 80%. Most times, you're probably dragging. And we want to make sure the time you're spending in work, which is being taken away from everything else in your life, is as productive as possible. And so if you can set these boundaries and prioritize yourself, then you're going to be able to handle a lot more in that amount of time while you're working. Okay, so a couple things that I want to mention. One, get into a routine, not just for your workday, but for your everyday. Get consistent what time you're waking up. Get consistent what time you're spending some time just for yourself. Maybe you're journaling, you're doing something, some kind of mindfulness, just anything that gives you space to think. Okay? You need to let your brain do your thinking and give the space for that because there's so many distractions coming at us all the time. We got to put the brakes on. We got to cut out that safe place for us to just think, to write, to process, whatever it is. Give yourself that time. Two, make sure you've got time for your own physical health. Set time aside to go work out, whether it's some cardio on a treadmill or you're going to the gym or just push-ups, sit-ups, whatever. Something to get your blood flowing, keep the body going, because it's going to help you feel like you've accomplished one more thing before you even start your day. Okay, there is some validated pride in saying that you've done more before most people have even woken up. Now, I'm not saying you got to get up early in the morning. That's up to you. But if you get a bunch of things done first thing in the morning, you're already starting off in a winning state. And you can leverage that to set your day off to be phenomenal. Okay? So do that. Now, the other part that I'll mention, doing your work, try to be as consistent as you can. Try to have some structure, try to have a framework, and process through the day with some type of system. Now, that's easier said than done. I get it. But even more important than that, set a time for your day to end. You can have exceptions. The way I like to do it when I was full-time sales rep was I would have Thursday nights I would work late. And my partner at the time, she knew that. And it was fine. Like we would just work around it. Maybe I'd start a little bit later on the Thursday because I was going to work late. Or I'd start a little later on the Friday because I worked late on Thursday. So it balanced out and I was still able to keep a balance. But you need to prioritize yourself and set a schedule that you're going to be successful in. And then when you have the end of your day come, and it doesn't have to be 5 o'clock, make it 6, make it 7, whatever, just be consistent. And then have a routine to wind down and go to bed. Try to get yourself to bed around the same time each night. Give yourself that same amount of sleep each night so that your body gets in a rhythm. Because the same way, okay, and this is going to be a funny analogy, but the same way your pets, like your dogs, will behave better when they feel like they have a pack leader, they've got some kind of consistency in leadership, you and your body will perform, and your mind will perform better when you've got consistency and routine. All right, so design that routine. Take some time, ideally today, take some time and design your routine. What do you want it to be? What's your dream day? You don't have to wait any more days to create your dream day. You can create it now and live it tomorrow, even today. But the time you go to bed tonight is going to impact how early you get up tomorrow. And that's going to impact how much energy you're going to have. It's going to impact the things you get done and how on the ball you are. So start today. Design your dream day for tomorrow. But the first thing you're going to do is determine what time you're going to bed tonight. And set that to be consistent. Shut the tech down an hour before you go to bed. All the stuff that you hear, it all makes sense. Okay, do it. Get the screens off an hour before you go to bed. Let yourself have a good sleep. But let yourself get the 7 or 8 hours of sleep you might need. Get up early. Have this time for you. Have the time for the physical fitness. Get the blood flowing. And let your mind do its thing. And if you create that routine consistently, and you don't need to use these times, but let's just say you're up at 6, in the gym by 6:30. At 7:30, your workout's done. You spend a half an hour where you're just letting your mind dump into a journal or some other mindfulness thing. And then get a good breakfast, get showered, and maybe you start your day at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. Okay. And then maybe you go from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. And that's your work day. And you can figure out that structure based on what things you got to consider. But at the end of the day, you come home, have your dinner, and then maybe say 9 o'clock, you're unwinding, the screens go off, 10 o'clock, you get to bed. You get a good night's sleep and start tomorrow off strong. Okay, whatever it needs to look like for you, do it. But make sure you prioritize you. If you put everyone else first and you don't carve out this space for you, you're going to burn out and you're going to be useless. This is no different than when you're on the plane and the flight attendant says, in the event of a pressure change in the cabin, the air masks will fall. Put yours on yourself first before you help anybody else. Why? Because you'll die and then you're useless. Well, we take this for granted in our day-to-day life. If you don't take care of yourself, you'll die and then you're useless. Okay, I don't want to be that blunt, but it is what it is. If you neglect yourself over and over and over again for a long period of time, it's not good for your health and you could die. So stop it. Okay, prioritize yourself. Don't die and end up being useless. Instead, prioritize yourself. Create the routines that are going to set you up for success. And then go out and perform like a boss, like an elite sales pro for your whole workday. And then come home and take care of yourself. Okay, it's going to make you better. It's going to make you perform at a higher rate. It's going to get you're going to be more confident in sales conversations. You're going to close more. You're going to create more consistency. It's just going to be phenomenal. So if you're not doing a routine, or if your routine is sort of just kind of haphazard, then level it up. Set it up. Put that air mask on yourself so you don't die and end up useless to others. Okay. Put yourself first. Take care of yourself. And go show the world how much of a badass you can actually be. All right. That's it for today, guys. That was episode 112 of Sales Team Rescue. Again, I'm your host, Jeremy DeMerchant. And if you want to have a chat about improving your sales, ideally doubling your sales in the next 12 months or less, go to salesteamrescue.com, book a call with yours truly. We will chat and see what we can do for you there. Until next time, remember, guys, get uncomfortable, get results. Cheers. Thanks for joining me. Let's keep the conversation going. You can find more episodes and a link to join our online community over at salesteamrescue.com. If you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe and give the show a review to help us reach more sales leaders like you. If you'd like our support in creating your own high-performance sales team, book a call with us at salesteamrescue.com.